With all the rage of ChatGPT, Google have been falling behind. But last week at Google I/O, they released Palm 2. Palm 2 is the new engine which is powering Bard. We've scientifically devised the perfect testing method to see who will win, ChatGPT or Google's Bard. We have them competing in 7 categories: creativity, brevity, compliance, volume, recall, current, precision, accuracy. So let's start with number 1, creativity. So for this one, I thought, let them tell me a joke. I could get them to write a poem or something, that's going to be boring. I want a joke. So we asked ChatGPT, why don't we ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Now at first I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I realised, genius. I've never heard that one either. But we then go and ask Bard, and they give this massive spiel. Here's a creative joke. What do you call a fish with no eyes? Psh. Not creative. Everyone's heard it, mate. Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. That one was alright, to be fair. But this, like, spiel underneath it, this joke is creative because... I'm not liking that one. It's also not as good a joke. Andrew gave me 2 and I asked for 1, so that's 1-0 to ChatGPT. 2, brevity. So for this one, we get them to summarise a news article. So first up, we have ChatGPT, but they give a massive spiel back, which is pretty much just as long as the article. However, when we asked Bard to do it, they gave me back 10 bullet points, which I must admit, for me, for facts, that gives me much more digestible information than the 3 paragraphs ChatGPT gives me. But I don't want 3 paragraphs, I don't want 10 bullet points, I want just like 4 lines. So based on that, I don't know if I'd give either of them points. However, Bard does have other drafts, which means that it has redone it another way and you can pick from a couple of options. But the problem is, their summary is still in bullet points. There's a kind of similar feature to this in GPT. However, you have to dislike the current response, which makes you feel kind of uncomfortable to be like, no, this response is bad, even if it's alright, just to see alternatives. We dislike this one and we go through it and it gives us a much better, more condensed summary, and a summary that's the length of one I would expect. So I'd actually give this one to ChatGPT. So far that's 2-0. So number 3 is compliance. For this one, I want them to let me input something which is too long for one message across different ones. So I ask them, please can I input something? And then you say, okay, next, and I'll give you the next bit until I say, done, that's enough. So it's like an iterative process of, okay, next, okay, next, okay, next, done. And then now they have all of this to store in their memory, and then I can ask them to summarize the whole thing. That's the idea. I've tried this multiple times and it never works, FYI. Now we start with ChatGPT and they're like, cool, send it in then. So I send the first one, okay, next. I send the second one and it starts trying to talk to me in Chinese. We put in the exact same text for Bard and they don't even do the okay, next. They just start talking back to me about what it says. I then tell them, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. But anyway, they're like, okay, cool. How else can I help you? No points to either. Still 2-0 with ChatGPT. Now, the reason I do this okay next thing, or at least I try to do it, is because they can't take the whole page at once. So I have a whole document I want summarised, they can only take half. Frustrating. But for number 4, we're going to test out volume, which is how many characters can they take at one time. So it turns out that ChatGPT can take 4,096 tokens at once, whereas Bard can take 5,000 characters, which is letters. On the surface here, ChatGPT takes more tokens in at once, which means it's better suited to longer content because a token is like a word, whereas a character is a letter. So, however, this is only on one message. If we look here, we can see that Bard says that they can actually remember previous messages, which means I could theoretically put in the okay next and it'll remember loads. Although I can't send it all in a single prompt, the volume at which it can process at one single time is more than ChatGPT. And so for this one, I've got to give it to Bard. And so next up, we're testing recall. And for this one, I thought I'd tell them my favourite colour, but not my actual favourite colour, because I don't want them to have my data, obviously. And then later on, I ask them, after I've asked a few facts and stuff, I say, do you remember my favourite colour? And both of them did, so point to each makes it 3-2. Current. For this, we're seeing who has the most up-to-date information. And so this one is easily Bard, because ChatGPT has a cut-off date of 2021, whereas Bard is up-to-date. So we're now at 3-3, and we've got 2 left. So another quick one here for Bard is that Bard gets their information directly from the internet and cross-references it from different sources. Whereas GPT, cut-off date of 2021, I mean, so it's 4-3 to Bard. Will Bard take the win, or is it going to be a draw? Our final test is accuracy. So for accuracy, I'm going to get both of them to write me code for the game of Snake for my MacBook. So if we look at Bard first, it's pretty cool because they let you view and run the code online. The only problem is I can't actually run the code online because I need a window for it to pop up in, and I can't do that online. So no bonus points there for Bard. What we're going to do then is we have to save this into a file. We follow the instructions for text edit, but it doesn't work because you have to save it with a format at the end, which then even when you try and change the extension, it just doesn't work because it keeps the formatting in there. So I ended up just using Visual Studio Code to save it. So I saved it and ran it for Bard, and it doesn't even work. First time, a game of Snake. Something so simple that it will be on Stack Overflow. So anyway, I then try and get Bard to debug itself twice to run it, and it still doesn't run. So 4-3 to Bard. If ChatGPT can get this, then level playing field, man. They also told me to do text edit, but they did also give me an alternative to use. So, you know, not giving you a bonus point, but looks better already. So I then save the code, run the code, and lo and behold, it works first time, no debugging, which I must admit was a surprise to me because I've used ChatGPT to help me code my own personal projects, and the amount of times they're like, sorry, I gave you the wrong information, here's more wrong information. But in this test, it works straight away. So there you go. 4 each, man. It's a draw.